Who was the best player for Nigeria at the Africa Cup of Nations?
Just take off.
If I slap your face,
You play.
if I wipe you.
Paul Sport 30 is here. Now, in case you are wondering what that is, this is Paul Sport's annual ranking of Nigerian footballers across the globe, wherever they might play for their performances during the season. I am Anishilu, Jimmy Anishilu. This is Crossfire, and I'm here with Tunde to discuss who we think should be number one on the Paul Sport 30 rankings. Tunde, who's your pick?
A lot of Nigerian players did well. There's really the forwards, but I think we all know the two guys that everybody is going to be thinking. And even though Ademola Lookman seems to have the streets right now because of that historic hat-trick in the Europa League final, I don't have short memory. This is for the span of the season, not for the last 1 month. It's for the span of the season, not from January down to now. And if you look at the season, there's not one Nigerian player around the world that has had a better year than Victor Boniface. Victor Boniface, 34 games for Bayer Leverkusen, 21 goals, 10 assists across all competitions. That's a superb ratio. That's why I'm missing like 2 months of the season. That's an incredible ratio. The fact that he did not go to AFCON is not an indictment on him, because he did not sit out the AFCON. It was injury, so you can't use that against him. For the games that he did play, and he played for the best team in Europe in the entire 2023-24 season. It was the top scorer for the best team in Europe in the entire 2023-24 season. A team that played 52 games and did not lose in 51 of them. So one game, in my opinion, even though it was a great game from Lookman, this is no Lookman 8. I think both of these guys are fantastic, and I think both of them should be ranked the top two. I just think that Boniface should be ranked ahead, and I don't think that one game should be enough to swing it in favor of Lookman. As a president of that game, it was just one game. I think Victor Boniface, as a larger body of work throughout the entire season. And the stats back it. Lookman scored 17 goals at 10 assists in 45 games for Atalanta. He scored 5 goals in the Europa League. 4 of those goals were in the last 2 games of the Europa League. 1 in the second leg against Marseille semi-final, and then 3 in the final. So before then, you only had 1 goal in the about 12 games that preceded those games. That's, again, this is not Lookman's slander. These are just facts. These are numbers. He only scored 4 Serie A goals in the second half of the season. I did not make that up. These are facts. These are numbers. So, like, Victor Boniface's work across the entire season is more impressive, even though Lookman had a great year as well.
All right, Tosin, I'm pretty sure that based on tradition alone, you are going to disagree with Tunde. So, who is your pick?
If Tunde actually makes any sensible points, I will agree with him. The mere fact that he said that Bayer Leverkusen was the best team in Europe this season, I do not understand the parameters behind that idea. You understand? Obviously, we saw what Real Madrid did. Real Madrid only lost twice this season, and they faced stiffer competition, won the Champions League. I'm not even here to make a conversation about Real Madrid. The thought that a player will miss 2 months due to injury, which was not his fault, and be the best player, it's just one of those things that actually boggles my mind. But it's due to his understanding about the game of football. He's still a toddler in this game. Let's look at it objectively. You talk about goals, because I don't know when Ademola Lookman's primary responsibility has been putting the ball in the back of the net. Ademola Lookman is not a striker. Because you are bragging that Boniface had 5 goals more than him. He's not a striker. Ademola Lookman is not a striker. We are looking at it, the totality of the 2023-2024 season. How are you going to compare Boniface to Lookman? If Boniface did not get his injury, but that's potential, we don't know. He could have actually hit a 0 grand mark. You understand? There are strikers that start the season good. We saw Sergio Guirassy. There was a time he was actually scoreless in about 4 or 5 games. So you never can say, okay, yes, because he started the season on fire, and obviously when he came back, it took a while, and he ended the season on fire. That doesn't make him ahead of Ademola Lookman. Ademola Lookman has been Nigeria's most consistent and the best. Let me repeat that. Most consistent and the best this season across all competitions. The first thing you need to be is consistent. which means he played 54 games across all competitions this year. 54 games, which means he was not injured in large spells. You need to be available to your team, both for your club and for your national team. Ademola Lookman already has a point over in there. You talk about goal contributions. They are both neck and neck. You now talk about performance when it matters, because there are some players who are actually born for the spotlight. When the chips are down, when you need somebody to will your team to victory, who do you look forward to? Do you look at Victor Boniface or do you look at Ademola Lookman? Given their track record. We know what Ademola Lookman did in the Europa League final. We know what Ademola Lookman was so good that Peter Crouch was saying that he should have played for England.
He never actually said that.
Ademola Lookman was so sensational that, in fact, after that Europa League final, he just guaranteed himself the African Footballer of the Year already. There was no debate on whatever platform you want to bring the conversation on. You want to talk about Salah, you want to talk about... Guaranteed himself, see, collect. Now let's even harken back to the African Cup of Nations. Let's harken back to the African Cup of Nations. In that African Cup of Nations team for the Super Eagles, a lot of people will remember, in that team, the Super Eagles had an African Footballer of the Year on that team. On that team. Who was the best player for Nigeria at the African Cup of Nations?
Just take off.
If I slap your face,
The player,
if I wipe your
the player of the tournament is not Nigeria's best player.
if I wipe your face,
Who was the player of the tournament?
the player of the tournament,
Who won the award?
you win the award doesn't mean you are the best now. You win the award doesn't
You win the election doesn't mean you are the president.
This is Africa now. This is Africa now. They gave him a compensation. I said it. I've said we had a crossfire. I said he didn't deserve it. So I'm not saying something new. I don't feel he deserved the best player at the AFCON. He scored 2 penalties and scored in the final game. He was shaking the fence. They needed to play a 3 at the back to compensate. I'm not even going to go into the details of AFCON. Without AFCON, without Ademola Lookman, where will Nigeria be? Where will Nigeria be? Have you forgotten? Nigeria falling behind against Equatorial Guinea. You that you are bragging, they will beat Equatorial. Falling behind against Equatorial Guinea. Who provided the ball? Who provided the ball?
Which one is always provision?
Like I said, Ademola Lookman can put the ball in the back of the net, but he can also serve as a catalyst. That's the difference. He can also serve as a catalyst. His primary responsibility is to take the initiative. Where people are not using their brain is that his own brain should work. That's his own job on the team. Deliver that outstanding. He delivered. In fact, a lot of people do not know this. He actually delivered 2 passes. One of them, I'm not even going to talk about it. You can go and watch the clip on YouTube and see what happened. He actually delivered 2 passes in that game.
If you are talking of the one-on-one with Simon, he will be that player.
It was there were 3 chances for that for Baba to score. He actually delivered another ball. But you can go and look at the clip on YouTube. I'm just telling you. Fantastic performance. If not for if we didn't get that enjoy that game, what do you think would have happened? Then we go to the round of 16 against the indomitable Lions of Cameroon. What did you think happened? Ademola Lookman happened. Don't even waste your time. Ademola Lookman happened. Carrying the nation, 400 million people. Some people living, they don't even know what their daily bread is going to look like.
All of a sudden, the provision no matter again. Because now Simon drop pass. Well, no matter.
Now Simon drop the pass for the 2 goals, Abi. Yeah, you want to be lackadaisical. You don't want to use your intellect. You want to be brain dead. Now Simon drop the 2 passes for the goal, Abi. Carry the nation. People are looking for their food. People are looking. Carry the whole nation on his shoulders. Said, I will lead you to the next round. Football is a team sport. He said, forget all of that. I am here. Just like Cristiano Ronaldo did in the Clasico at the Camp Nou. I'm here. Some people are already hyping up attention. He said, no, don't worry about it. Just hop on my shoulders. Lead the nation to the next round. You're here talking about Victor Boniface. In a year whereby there was an African Cup of Nations talking about Victor Boniface. My friend, get out of here, Jerry.
So, Tunde, Tosin made a point earlier. He mentioned something about with Lookman's performance that is pretty much guaranteed the African Player of the Year. Do you think that whoever emerges as the winner of the Pulse for 30, the number one, can actually go on to win the African Player of the Year, like the CAF Awards? Do you think that determines it?
I think that's just normal Nigerian arrogance speaking, because of course Pulse for 30 is the leading ranking of Nigerian players around the world, but it is still Nigerian players. And when you talk about the African Footballer of the Year, that is CAF African Footballer of the Year. Yes, the Nigerian guys have really made a strong case for it. So that's talking of Victor Boniface, who I think is the more likely Nigerian to win it, and even say an Ademola Lookman. But if you are talking in the context of African Footballer of the Year, it goes beyond just the Nigerian guys. And I know those say things that this is a foregone conclusion from Lookman because of one game. If we are focusing on just one game, then Sebastian Haller has to win it because he scored the decisive goal in the AFCON final. And it's an AFCON year. If one game, so I don't think Haller should win it. I'm just saying, going by Tosin's logic. If one game is all that matters, then Haller's game should matter more than Lookman's game. But because it's not one game, we have to look at the Africans that have done a lot of amazing things this season. You mentioned Serhou Guirassy. Talking about Serhou Guirassy stopped scoring at some point. That's how I know Tosin does not watch football. It's only Barcelona and vibes. Because Serhou Guirassy scored 30 goals in 30 games this season, 28 in 28 Bundesliga games, despite being injured for a lot of the season. That's an African, the same league with Boniface. That's an African Footballer of the Year, level season. If you look at even in the same Bundesliga, the same club, Edmond Tapsoba, Burkina Faso got to the quarterfinals of African Cup of Nations, was a mainstay in the Bayer Leverkusen defense that went on to achieve everything that Victor Boniface achieved. He achieved as well. Odilon Kosunu played a lot of games for Ivory Coast at the African Cup of Nations, won the AFCON, in fact, beating Nigeria in the final. He is a Bayer Leverkusen player as well. He has a very, very strong case. Some people say he has more of a case than the Nigerians at Bayer Leverkusen because he won the AFCON and achieved everything that Bayer Leverkusen achieved as well. While he's a defender, you can't really hold him to the level of scoring goals. So this is to show that there are lots of African players that are going to rival the Nigerians for that award. So I don't think the Nigerians are running. Even if you leave those guys that are somewhat, let us look at the guys with pedigree, the guys that have been here before. Pierre Aubameyang scored 31 goals this season. 31 goals, 14 assists in 51 games. That is a ridiculous return for Olympique Marseille. That's African Footballer of the Year material for someone that has won the award before. Look at Mo Salah. I don't know African Footballer of the Year. I'm calling Lookman. I'm not calling. So you are a joker. You are calling Lookman. I'm not calling. Who will vote? Who will vote for Lookman ahead of Salah? Salah has 24 goals, 14 assists in 44 games this season for Liverpool. Everybody knows that Liverpool is playing at the highest level of football. So I'm not saying that any of the Nigerians cannot win it. I'm not saying that Boniface cannot win it. I'm not saying that Lookman cannot win, even though I think Boniface should win it. I'm just saying that it will be irresponsible. It will be short-sighted. It will be miscalculated. And these are words that describe Tosin very, very well. To say that the award is a foregone conclusion for Ademola Lookman, an award that is not a Nigerian award, an award that is a CAF award, in a year that lots of other Africans, which Tosin was clearly not aware of until I brought to his notice, had fantastic seasons. So the lesson in this, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, is that watch more football. Don't just be stuck to the prism of your broke club, focusing on the same 11 to 14 players, watching the same 17-year-old teenagers every week. How will you know who is playing well and who is not playing well? That's so that you will not come and be embarrassing yourself on the biggest show in African sports. Thank you very much.
Tosin, let me give you a chance to fire back at him. This is Crossfire after all.
Tunde's understanding, his comprehension level of English, of football, it's at the nursery school level. At the end of the day, what can I do? They employed him here. What can I do? I hope I'll face him in a debate. At the end of the day, what can I do? I said the overwhelming reaction towards Ademola Lookman is that he's going to win the African Footballer of the Year. And that statement was in comparison to Victor Boniface. At the end of the day, there's still a process towards that. It's like saying, after the season Victor Osimhen had with Napoli last season, that the overwhelming reaction is that Victor Osimhen will be crowned African Footballer of the Year. Now, some might say it was presumable. There's still a process that had to take place. And at the end of the day, when the process took place, he was crowned. But these are the things, like I said, it's a comprehension issue. And the comprehension issue starts in nursery school. Depends when you go to Abele secondary school, under the bridge. If your teachers do not do a good job on you, you won't have understanding of basic English. I said Guresi did not score in a couple of games. I'm right. You can actually fact check that. And when you talk about Kosunu, if I recall well, me and Tunde were cursing out Kosunu in the game against Mali. In the quarterfinals of the Africa Cup of Nations, where he cost his team going down 10 men, which is by a red card against Mali. Obviously, they came back to win the game at the end of the day, but it was a detriment to the team. His defending was not as good as he had shown at Bayer Leverkusen. Obviously, at the end of the day, we know that politics and other factors can come in. But like I said, in the case of Victor Osimhen, we expect him to win the African Footballer of the Year. We expect Ademola Lookman to win the African Footballer of the Year based on the totality of the season he has put together. This is one of the most outstanding. Like, if you said for like some of us, we had the opportunity to pick between Bayer Leverkusen, because like hindsight is 50-50, 20-20, whichever the case is. Some of us had the opportunity. Tunde was here, I was here. We had the opportunity to pick who would win the Europa League. Guess who Tunde picked? Because he said, no, you scored in the Europa League, there's nothing special. Who did Tunde pick? He picked Bayer Leverkusen. I picked Atlanta. Why? Because I know the power. I even predicted that Ademola Lookman will play a key role in the final. The video is there. I don't say these things because of, obviously, I don't say this because of, I say it based on my super extended experience.
Oh, wow.
Super extended experience about the game of football. That's why I make these declarations. They may look prophetic, but I make these declarations based on superior, super extended knowledge about the game of football, calculated, analyzed, verified. And so when I now say, Ademola Lookman should win the African Footballer, they say, no, what if they vote? I said he should. There's a process that goes into it. I will see in a couple of months.
Well, whether or not Tosin's prophetic declarations come true and Ademola Lookman wins the African Footballer of the Year, the first 5 are going to come out, and then we are going to go up and up and up until we get to the final 5 to see who is number 1. I am Anishilowo, Jimmy Anishilowo, and this is Crossfire.